How do I do it?
And it came to the
Speaker, yes.
where it ends.
Do you want me to go yell at her?
So you do,
Yeah, it's under settings.
I am going to read a little bit of history. I mean, it's a little tabby. It's just one sentence in each page.
Did you get lost?
Help how to get there.
You lost?
He's down at Public Works. Yeah, gotcha. Yep.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Down at Public Works.
It's better.
Yeah.
So that shouldn't.
People are here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the end of the world if it does, but it's easier if it doesn't.
No, I agree. I think that's how I set mine.
Okay.
Tape lock.
God, I don't know if it's the pollen that's outside right now. Yeah. I am just filled up. Unbelievable.
Two enough. Because I'm going to 2 menopause, and I was like, right? I was like, tell Matt.
Okay, very good. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Announce we do have a quorum. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. The purpose, the Planning and Zoning Commission will conduct a work session to receive information, discuss, and provide feedback to staff regarding various requests and initiatives previously presented to the Town Council. So this is a work session. It is not open for public hearing. This will be closed to the Planning and Zoning Commission. It is being broadcast and recorded, so I'd ask all of the commissioners, please make sure that you're close to the microphones when you have comment or speak. And number two, the fact that a work session is limited to no more than 1 hour in duration. So we will adhere to that. And with that, I will turn it over to staff to kick the session off. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, and the Planning and Zoning Department. I'm really excited to talk to you all tonight about the items for this evening's work session. It brings me to step 2 of the Town Council's work session agenda item in relation to dedicating a park site and naming it within the town. So I want to, for a little bit of history for our listeners as well as everyone in the audience, on June 23rd, Town Council held a work session where we discussed what are the steps in terms of designating, rather naming a town park or a town facility in order for it to be labeled as recreation. That would formalize a site as a community asset, and it would require for the future enhancement of funding access, specifically for the Arizona State Parks, but in other opportunities as well. So many programs, when it comes to grants and funding, prioritize dedicated public parks. So what was presented to council was requests for direction in regards to processes and timelines on how to go about that process. And it was more specifically looking at town property for where the gym is currently located. And that's right next to the museum, as well as the PD department off of Jackson Lane. So the process that was presented was anywhere from 9 to 12 weeks. And it was pretty straightforward. The first step was to review and prep materials. Second was to identify dedicated use for the town gym as a public park via the planning and zoning process. So that brings us here to tonight to review and begin that dedicated process. So in order to dedicate a town property, in order to qualify it for grants, we need to be able to align it with the land use within a general plan. And these are underneath the Arizona Revised State Statutes, Title IX. And underneath the general plan, when it comes to land use, trying to identify where these properties fall in to be able to dedicate them. So staff on August 6th was advised to review was advised that a broader review of all town properties to look at the development and the land use of inventory in order to evaluate current uses, operating costs, and potential future uses. And what we looked at that night was all of our town properties collectively as a whole. So if you look in your planning and zoning packet, you'll see a map of all the town properties. This was presented to staff. It's also in the back of the room. And we took an inventory of what we have here in town and started to really, started to truly look at what we've got going on and realize that we actually have two properties within town that are already recreation use, park use, and that would be Woodland Lake Park as well as Mountain Meadow Recreation Park. So staff began to look at what are some of the other items that we have in terms of inventory and operating costs and came to the realization that the town also owns a 40 by 60 steel building that has the ability to adapt and permeate and add additions to it later on for future use. So in looking at all these items collectively, council advised staff to consider looking at the properties if we were to have completed the Mountain Meadow Recreation Complex and include pickleball courts there versus if we were to include pickleball courts over at the town gym, so that way we could dedicate one or the other as park use. So looking at the general plan for tonight, that's why we have the summary of it, so that way we can understand that this all falls under what is a general plan, what is the requirement under a general plan, which is the land use, and comparing that with the dedicated use. So tonight, staff is asking for direction in terms of looking at different criteria and elements in order to compare apples to apples, Mountain Meadow Recreation Park, and finishing up the use there, as well as the town gym location and finishing up the use at those areas. So any questions so far? I know that was kind of a lot of history over the past 90 days.
So where's this building that can be added onto?
Yeah, it's currently in storage, if I'm correct. Right?
Oh, so it's
Not assembled.
It's not
It's
erected.
not assembled, right.
Yeah, but we own it.
So could this be an indoor cover or cover for a pickleball court?
Yes. So it could. It would be tight for 2 courts, and we would look at how much it would cost, and that would be a town council item that we would bring to them, but and how those adaptations would relate, so that way we can get multiple uses out of it. But we currently own the steel building today.
So, Jennifer, I'm more familiar with Woodland Lake Park and Mountain Meadow Park than I am with the area that we're talking about around the town gym. So help me to understand, we have a town gym and that's enclosed and that's being utilized today. How much is it adjacent land to the gym are we talking about? How much acreage is there that we're considering? That's my first question. Sure. So answer that, and then I've got a follow-on question.
It's 1.5, 1.5 acres? Okay.
1.5, and it's clear land at this point in time?
Currently, there is one structure on it, and that is the town gym. It was formerly the Blue Ridge Junior High Gym, and it's had multiple different uses ever since it's been retired from the Blue Ridge Unified School District. Okay. So a lot of different programs have gone through it. We recently had the Easter egg hunt back in the spring over at that facility. So it's had a lot of different hats that it's worn.
All right, now, can I ask my follow-on question is, okay, from that being the central location, take me out to the perimeter and tell me what is adjoining and adjacent to this little over 1 acre of property that we're talking about by the town gym.
Yeah. So, so do you all know where the Lakeside post office is?
Yes.
Okay, so that's Jackson Lane. So if you were to go down that street, you'll see on one side is the original town market, the Lakeside Market, which is the corner. And then there's apartments right behind it. I think it's the Apple Apartments.
Apple Tree Apartments.
Apple Tree Apartments.
Okay.
And then across from the Apple Tree Apartments, we're just kind of zigzagging all the way down the road, is the Depot Coffee House Shop. I was there this morning. They have great banana cream pie coffee. But and then if you continue down, there's actually a church on just across the street from the town gym. And if you're coming down that road, in front of the town gym is an open lot area, and that's part of the parcel itself. And that sits right behind the post office, and then behind the gym would be the PD.
And aren't there some further apartments under consideration for development in some of that area down there, Frank? Was that
There was talk at one point down to the north of Lakeside Market, the old Lakeside Market. Rest of that area is residential.
Residential, okay, thank you.
Wasn't there originally, Frank, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought there was a club or somebody that wanted to build pickleball courts there already.
That had been discussed. Yeah.
And where does that discussion?
Right now that has,
It's tonight.
it's still stagnant, it's still, it hasn't proceeded yet.
Okay,
And
We're talking about, there's two pickleball courts in that building?
There's 3 inside.
Okay, but are we looking at a gym or are we looking at more pickleball? I mean, I'm a little confused as to what, you call it a gym, but it's not really.
It's known as the town gym.
It is a town gym.
It is a
No,
19.
but it's not a gym. I
It's
mean,
got basketball
a pickleball
courts.
court.
It's being used as that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that's not really a,
Are we talking about putting a real gym in or just expanding the pickleball?
or leaving that gym as a gym.
And then there's potential discussions of expanding pickleball to outside, 8 additional courts. But that's kind of where, when it comes down to designating a town use, being able to qualify for grants and different things like that would be the funding that would support that initiative.
so in this gym is and I don't know if it's a club or an organization, it doesn't really matter, but the pickleball group, are they the only ones that are utilizing that gym?
For the most part, there are town activities that do occur in there
Okay,
on occasion. Yeah.
okay,
Like we have events.
Is the gym viable for a meeting place? One of the things we're short on in our town is places such as the community center that's utilized by certain groups. And
At
it's,
some point, it is. The problem is there are no restrooms.
Correct.
There are porta-johns outside, that's all there is.
okay.
all right, so
We need to do something to the ground around the pickleball courts. I mean, it looks like a field that's been kind of left to its own for a couple of years. And something should happen. I would definitely agree with that.
Some of the issues with that property is there's a large drainage just to the east of the police department that drains that whole lot. So that takes 50, 75 feet of a straight run through there.
with the condition of that building, you know, there's rumors that go around.
Yeah.
But is it for the foreseeable future a good, is it reliable? Is it going to be there in 30 years? Or
It's
is it?
been around for probably almost 100.
I know that.
Yeah, but
It's
I
old.
would, as somebody who's been in building most of my life, it's about to run out of life.
Okay.
I mean, it's not dangerous, it's old, it's something that you don't want to sink a bunch of money into, you know?
Yeah.
weren't there some issues with the building a number of years ago? Before Frank and Jennifer and Lisa. But Christie, weren't there some repairs that had to be done to that building?
Yeah, well, I read a bunch on it today, and there was a storage room that had lockers and some bathrooms that had to be removed because of water damage and mold. And then they mitigated that, got it all taken care of. As far as, we don't know how many years the life has in it. I know that there's been some work done on the roof, and I think that's okay right now.
Yeah. It did have a basement in it, which is partially filled with dirt. The floor is supported by timbers, which are now buried in dirt. So you can kind of figure where that's going to go.
But the bathrooms right now are a couple banana johns
Right.
sitting outside the building, yeah.
I just look at it as an asset that maybe doesn't need to be an asset anymore. And if we throw money at it, are we really throwing good money at a bad thing?
Right.
I mean,
I would
I'm
agree.
sure that the history of it is pretty cool and so on and so forth. His uncle went there to school and played basketball there. But if we can do it, should we do it, you know? Or if we should do it, can we do it? So I don't know. I don't think that's a viable situation, long-term wise.
And I'll expand on that. The reason I was asking about, to understand what's in proximity, and it sounds like it, you know, you can classify it pretty much as residential, that's in proximity there. I can't imagine that that would be a viable location for us to take a look at for building a recreation center where in fact there's, you know, there's going to be, and appropriately so, noise and, you know, clapping and all sorts of things that happen with sports activities and events, not to mention the fact of, you know, pickleball, which in itself, you know, pickleball courts, the sound is, I classify it as obnoxious. But, and I've got some history with this. I ran a HOA organization in Chandler, and we had, it was a big unit. Oh geez, there were probably 500 houses, but it was 7 different communities. Each one had a basketball court in the center of the community, and we converted that to pickleball. We had them painted and everything else, and the people came in, played pickleball, had a great time. It's a great sport, but the noise was a factor. After 90 days, we had to shut them down. The community just could not tolerate the noise. And I can't see it as being viable in a location that's surrounded by residential communities.
So looking at item number 2 under site suitability, so we just discussed the 40 by 60 structure and then also the current structure that's at the gym. So looking, you know, apples to apples, parks for parks. For direction when we come back and we actually look at these two a little bit further, as staff, we'll look at the viability and do an inspection on the town gym so we can better understand what is the lifespan of it. And then looking at the cost of erection for that 40 by 60 steel building. So that way we're looking at both properties when it comes to utilization of an indoor facility. Is that what I'm understanding?
I think the Mountain Meadow facility gives much more in the way of long-term viability, you know, back to...
Benefit to the entirety.
Yeah.
Because of the basketball courts, the softball fields, the soccer fields, the playground. It makes more sense to put a pickleball court there.
Yeah.
Because it's already very family oriented.
I was out there last week, and they were playing pickleball. As you come in on the right, there's, I don't know if they're tennis courts or both sides. They were playing pickleball on, I think they were probably meant to be tennis courts, but there was two teams. So that might be a...
Yeah.
The one in Woodland Park is a dual-use court.
Yeah, I have to agree with Jeff on the noise level.
Yeah.
A lot of screaming, a lot of yelling. We have them up at Pinetop Lakes, and you can hear them. You can hear the folks. I'm having a good time. I mean, no doubt about that. But there is a lot of screaming and yelling. And
Frank, is that zone commercial right there, that lot? And have you done an inspection?
Where the gym is, the gym, that area is residential.
And have you done an inspection on the property?
I've looked at the gym somewhat. I'd like to have a structural engineer look at it.
Is it possible to take the structure that we have in storage and erect that over at Mountain Meadows to that front left side to be able to create indoor courts there?
Absolutely.
I like the idea of, I don't think the noise is an issue myself. I like to see kids doing stuff. But I do see the point of not having it there by the post office and across from the LDS church. There was some talk a couple years ago about having a town center or a place for a gathering, like a little, kind of like a Jack Barker Park, but like more accessible. Like, where can you park when you go to Jack Barker Park? It's hard, right? You park across the street, walk across the street. Whereas if you're over there by the post office, I'm sure that they could put a parking lot there, have a walkabout park, So apples to apples, I would say throw the pickleball over to Mount Meadows or somewhere over there and have that as like a gathering place or a place where you could have live music on Friday or Saturday night. And thinking about all the people that live around that area, I can't see any one of those guys complain about pickleball. I can't. I know most of them, but I just don't see them. I know it's a real thing, and I've seen stories about it, but I don't see them be annoyed with pickleball at that location. But the other place is a better location. But if bands on Friday and Saturday night down there, that would be great. So that's my opinion. I don't want to overtalk anybody. So.
Is it feasible if that was turned into some type of a community center to put in restrooms that would accommodate events like that? Because you need more than one and one. I don't know what the.
More than one male and female bathroom?
Yeah. You have to have multiple bathrooms. So I don't know if that's a feasible.
Now,
The gym.
now Mountain Meadow already has restrooms.
No, I meant at the gym. They were
Yeah.
talking about
The
if it was.
gym, it can be done, as everything is, it would cost to do it.
I'm sure the same cost as a pickleball court.
Yeah, to me, in summarization, if you take a look at the gym location, it seems like you're trying to fit something in versus Mountain Meadow, where you have a plethora of space and you have the ability to do strategic thought and planning and consideration and maybe even multi-use for some of the facilities to maximize the space, and it's a wide open space with plenty of parking.
I just wanted to address Kathy.
Excuse me, Christy?
Yes, because he said there was no restroom, so if it was used as a community thing, then.
The reason why I was just about the gym, it would just all depend on after a structural engineer looked at it to see if it's a viable use for that.
Gotcha.
The existing building, from a budgetary standpoint, makes more sense. You can use the property that's already there versus having to start anew in Mountain Meadow Park.
But that's not
Budget
necessarily true, though, because if you have to undergo the restrooms, you're going to incur the cost of adding your restroom complex where it already exists in Mountain Meadows. So I don't know that cost-wise, it would be a whole lot different from one to the other, its location.
And at some point, hopefully we can develop or have a plan for all of our town properties, all 20 some odd of them. So there is always the potential that regardless, no matter what, both locations are going to have to consider restrooms into its future. So that one kind of, in my personal opinion, almost starts to become a little bit of a wash.
And one of the things that I like in what I hear is that if you did a sports complex with Mountain Meadow, it's designated as sports complex. It has an identity.
Already, yes.
Yeah, and then I think we still need to build upon it because the vacancy rate down there is just tremendous. I live near it and I see it's not utilized.
Yep.
And if we were able to develop that and make that an epicenter, and then the talk of, trying to find something like a town center over near where the gym is, and giving that its identity as a town center, and then all of your activities and your events and whatever you wanted to do oriented toward that, it gives definition to both locations, and there's less confusion, I think, than there is today.
And some of the feedback that I've just heard through the community, nothing like we could look back at the survey back in 2023, but the revitalization ideas that I've just heard through in passing about Lakeside area and the opportunity. A lot of people ask questions about that area. They like the wider streets, and there's already some, residential apartments and condominiums that are already there. So the precedence is already in place, and we can certainly look at that.
Someone had mentioned the entertainment center, and, you throw a KT Classics or somebody in that building till 11 o'clock at night, or whatever, that room noise is gonna be a way whole lot more than a pickleball court ever dreamed of.
Yeah.
I'd have a heart attack if someone did it close to my house. I'll go someplace to see them, but I don't wanna sit in my front room and listen to it.
It's penetrating noise. I live in the county in Pinetop-Lakes, and I probably live at least a half a mile from the tennis courts that are turned into pickleball mostly now. And I can sit on my front patio drinking coffee in the morning, and I know they're playing. And we're talking a heavily wooded area and a lot of buildings in between me. So the noise does have to be a consideration, I think. But, you know, I think you can categorize the area as an old established neighborhood. So, you know, what are you doing to the resale value, you know, how you get into all that stuff. Just a thought.
Embarking off, sorry.
On that survey, was there requests from the community for other types of community-type places?
When did we do that, 2023, the community survey? Yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely, they always want more outdoor recreation, and an event center was a big one. It was really big.
Did they add any other requests insofar as an event center besides pickleball?
I can deep dive that and bring
Yeah,
it back.
A skate park, a bike park, more mountain biking, more baseball fields. There's a lot, yeah. Anything outside for kids to do, for sure.
Okay.
You're welcome.
I would wish for having more sports at the Mountain Lake, Woodland Lake thing.
Anything in particular that you want us to look into?
Hey, what?
Any sports in particular worth looking into outside of or Little League baseball?
No, I think they've got it pretty well
What's there
covered
right
out
now?
there.
Softball.
Yeah,
Softball.
a track just for running would be good. And actually, you could put in a real gym, excuse me, but I'm not a pickleball player. So, you know, with some weights, maybe some weight machines. It's an older crowd, tends to be moving up here more. And they tend to use machines rather than free weights. And
What about
that would have to be enclosed. You couldn't do that outside. Make that a whole sports complex and kind of throw everything in there together.
Yeah.
And use the gym down here as a event center for meetings, or shoot, you could rent it out for weddings. I mean, there's a severe lack of buildings up here, or at least there was. I have to go back a couple of years for my statement, but there's not a lot of places you can go for an event to get out of the weather, that I know about anyway.
So question for staff, have you talked to the high school? Would there, you know, I know they've got their own sports complexes and facilities, but would they have any interest in utilization and any aspect associated with Mountain Meadow?
We do partner with them in the use of the baseball fields,
Okay,
training, football, that kind of stuff.
okay.
There is a good partnership with them.
Oh, there has? Okay,
Been
all
soccer
right.
games there.
And I will say, my son's on travel ball, and he's also on the White Mountain Little League Club. And there's, a lot of that is from some of the teams that we played with. A lot of it is like a lot of Sholo kids that come up here, and so that's kind of nice, because afterwards everyone goes and gets pizza, you know, or eats over at Red Devil and different things like that. So there's not just the schools in general. We also have a lot of other traveling leagues and things like that, and bringing up more traveling leagues would be a huge asset to the town.
Right.
Frank Naranjo knows a lot about that, so he and I have been working together to compile a lot of this information, so we're exploring that.
Wickenburg, they take advantage of that all winter long.
Yeah.
Travel baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? When a team of 12 kids, when 20 teams of 12 kids, they bring their families and stay in hotels and eat at restaurants.
Sure.
I've always pushed on, hey, it would be nice to have more baseball fields and have tournaments in the summer, but then again, you got to have it staffed. You got to pay for that, and so I don't know. That would be good too.
We've already had 3 big tournaments
Yeah.
here.
Well, softball tournaments.
Yeah.
Like, there's been rarely any baseball tournaments. The baseball tournaments go down to the show.
Yeah, yeah.
Or they play at Blue Ridge High School. So, and we couldn't do, as the Little League president, when I was Little League president, I was told by the Little League, State Little League, that we couldn't do tournaments here at Mountain Meadows because we didn't have a scoreboard. Granted, this was 8 years ago, and I wanted to push to make fun. I don't know if
It's true, I think I've heard that.
I don't know if I'm breaking the law by talking about this, but tell me if I need to stop. But I was going to push to find fundraisers to pay for those signs so that it wouldn't be at the cost of the town. I mean, they were like $10,000. You get 4 people to pay $5,000 each, and they'd pay for it. But I don't know.
Well, on the other side of it, look
Yeah.
at the number of people would draw into town.
Yeah.
When I was looking at some of the pickleball court videos for down in Sholo, what I noticed is that a lot of businesses hang their banners on the inside of those, which I was like, that's genius. You know, it helps promote the local community and advertising. I don't know what that would look like, and we'd have to bring that back to Christie and the town attorney. Whether or not we can do that, I don't know, but where people can hang banners and stuff.
It's also genius to add food and beverage on the inside.
Yeah.
The local people.
So I think we covered the sports concepts pretty well over at Mountain Meadow and the different types of sports. I heard music from Phil, reverting back to the town gym property. Any other creative ideas that we can explore and bring back at a later date to the commission?
A rose garden, I don't know.
A rose garden. Larry,
Isn't it used as a car show today too? Doesn't the car clubs have a car show there once a year? Or is that's up at Pinetop?
Yeah,
That's up
that's
at
fine.
Okay.
They use that for like, the Christmas cabin uses it for their Christmas stuff during the holidays.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
the Santa meet and greet. That's all that's coming to my mind right now, but I know
Okay.
that's those types of events.
We would like to get, especially the younger folks, utilizing that facility a little bit more as well.
Because if you go down to Sholo right now, if you go down to Sholo, the pickleball court, you'll see 10 kids from up here playing pickleball right now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think more just,
Yeah.
not specifically uses of the gym, but the land right there that's behind the police department. Can you guys think of any other uses that Jennifer could take back to council? Because we were asked
Yeah.
by council to do some research on this, and so we want to be able to come back with some uses that you guys think are a good idea for that.
I think an amphitheater would be good, a little thing like that, not big, but
Little amphitheater.
I know earlier this week we met with MPC, and so there's a lot of up and coming things within our surrounding White Mountain communities. So even doing something as simple as like chair yoga or introducing different types of classes and stuff. I know we talked a little bit earlier about indoor conferences, Larry. Is that something that is worth looking into? Is, what would that incorporation in that area be worthwhile?
The other thing I can think of, a lot of the communities now do where the restaurants get together and they do a taste of Pinetop-Lakeside. And, they all set up tents and do, little tastings of their various restaurants, promoting their restaurants. And there may be some interest in local restaurants to do something in that on a weekend. Farmers market, moving that over into that area and holding that. Arts and crafts events to hold in that little area. Utilization of things like that, I would think, would be a consideration for viability.
Have you guys been down to, during the 4th of July, when they do the big 4th of July festival down at the high school in Shola? How they have that set up?
I just got hit with the water hydrant thing by the fire department, but that was about the extent of it. That's all I could suffer through.
So during 4th of July, they set this up and they have these events, but what if you turned that truly just into an event center where you had an indoor option, but you created a nice lawn where they could set up, have your vendors, a gaming center for adults
Yeah.
that need to get out and interact and find other adults, where they could have their game groups or card groups or whatever like that, but you've also got the outdoor lawn where you could set up and have a concert if you wanted to, as they do in the Sholo Park for 4th of July. But it's
Nice grass, nice,
removable. It's not a permanent
vegetation.
fixture there all the time,
Yeah.
right?
It needs a little life to the area, for sure, the desert.
An event, an outdoor event, well, indoor-outdoor event center.
Kind of behind, like in Shoal, how they have that behind the fire, pickleball's in front of the fire station. And then that grass park is behind it with the playground. It's just flat grass for, it's probably about 100 yards of grass. It's just, you just play around on it, so.
Yeah,
Take a drive down there.
we should. And then the gym could still be used for any athletics, I guess, right?
What could use for
Yeah.
any indoor event?
Yeah, I would think that it should be the situation, it's owned by the town, correct?
Correct.
So, you know, promotion to get more clubs and organizations in for utilization. I'm sure that there's rent that's got to be paid for that, for use of that facility, and there should be. And it should be done on a consistent basis so that we're not favoring one club over another, either on a per hour basis or whatever it may be. But it, you know, small revenue generation for the town.
Use it till we can't.
Until it falls apart.
Yeah.
Till the wheels fall off, so to speak.
There's no public comment.
Larry, I know you're with the White Mountain Nature Center. I always feel like there's a lot of value that comes out of there. Any ideas? No, not yet? I know you guys do a lot of different activities.
That would be another place to hold those types of activities,
Yeah.
though.
I know,
If you did a pretty little outdoor gazebo, you could even open it up for prom at the high school if you were to soup it up nicely, or, you know, outdoor events like that for the younger kids.
I like the soup it up part.
Okay, well, maybe that's not
I'm
technically.
gonna write that down.
Fluff it up, proof it up, whatever. Light it up, because that's pretty much what they like, lights.
Yeah. I think I've got a lot to work with,
Okay.
so.
Any further comments from commissioners? Ideas, questions?
The only thing I was going to say is the sports complex is in the future, months, years. Should we be thinking about the now? What do we got to do to the gym to make it viable for the next few years?
Get ready for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we do have a lot of grant priorities that we have to examine, making sure that we're holding firm on finishing those out and the obligations in order to pave the path for either location. So making sure that we're holding true on our obligations, and we're not putting the town at any future risk. So I'll include that back to the council to evaluate.
The biggest drawback, excuse me, the biggest drawback I would see from the gym is parking. I mean, the bigger thing you put in there, the more people are gonna come, and then they're gonna start stacking on top. We're out on Woodland, you got lots of room to park. I'd like to see that the gym thing be more of a exhibit hall, conferences, that sort of thing. Maybe rent it out for whatever wild thing people come up with, and keep the physical activity of large crowds out Woodland, because you got room to handle it. Mm-hmm. The bottleneck that you could cause there by the post office would be astounding. Those roads aren't, you go around the police department and it's almost like a little wagon trail that comes up.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Would a traffic survey be beneficial to either group?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The other thing that probably should be considered, speaking of that, is truly figure out where you could put the largest amount of parking that you could accommodate if you were to make an event center or something
That's a
of the
real
sort.
problem.
Yeah, you'd have to plan that into it.
Yeah.
So maybe where can we park from our runoff and how much space does that leave us to work with?
Okay. What's our maximization?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a lot, I'll be busy,
Something to do.
very
Job
busy.
security.
Job security, there we go, Phil.
Further questions, comments from commissioners? Staff, any questions to commissioners?
Thank you.
All right. Well, given that there's no further business, I'll adjourn this meeting. Thank you all very much for your participation.
Yeah, we talked about it in the beginning, we covered it.